What's up, you guys? I'm Dan. This is Max. You're watching Frugal Not Cheap, and today I'll share my thoughts after a year of ownership of a used 2017 Model S. So, this being frugal, not cheap, then obviously what I like to do when I buy cars is to buy gently used cars so that someone else will pay for the rapid depreciation that happens at the beginning of ownership. So back in 2012, I bought a 2010 Acura TSX that had 25,000 miles. I paid, I think, $25,600, and it came with the tech package. Wonderful car. I really loved the sound system, everything about it, and I intended to own it for about 10 years. And I nearly made it. But around this time last year, I had been starting to look around at, I'd been for some time looking at used Tesla prices. And I was debating between getting a Model 3 or a Model S. And around this time last year, I found a 2017 Model S. Means that it was after the refresh. So instead of having that weird sort of nose cone thing on the front of the car, it had a more proper front end. And it was also, because it was made in 2017, according to what Elon had said at the time, it should have all the hardware necessary for eventual full self-driving. So that was another reason why I picked that car. And anyway, I found one for $38,000, had about 68,000 miles. And this is quite a significant discount, of course, from the prices new. I can't remember exactly how much this particular car spec'd out was new. I did not get the Monroney sticker and all that. But I think it was somewhere around the $80,000 range. So it was quite a good deal, I thought, in that way. Not only that, but the car came with a free premium connectivity. So I get the LTE signal free from Tesla, so I can watch, Netflix and all that stuff. And then also, it came with Navigate on Autopilot, which I think was an option for about $5,000 at some point or something like that. And of course, for peace of mind, the car came with an 8-year unlimited mile warranty on both the battery and the drivetrain. Rather than rehash my original review and potentially go over a lot of the same material, I'll encourage you just to check out my original review of the car. It is quite lengthy and detailed, but I think it's pretty cool. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. So what we're going to do instead here today is I thought the format should be, I'd ask myself, what are the questions that I would want to ask me about 1 year of ownership of a used Tesla. All right, so here we go. Yes, I thought about saving this question for last, but I thought about it, and obviously this is the first thing that I would ask someone is, are they still happy with the car? And I absolutely am. I love it. I just got back from a trip to the grocery store. It's got that giant hatchback with the extra storage under that little panel that you pull up. And I put my groceries in there so they don't slide around everywhere and fall all over the place. If I'd taken Max, we could have used dog mode, and then on the way there, it stopped for all the traffic lights and kept itself in the lane, navigating on its own. I had to take the turns, but that's it. And then hopefully that'll get even better once FSD beta comes out. Listen to music the whole way. So just, yeah, I love the car. Really just, it continues to be a great experience. Well, it was a 5-year-old used car, so of course not everything was perfect, right? The first thing that I noticed while I was kind of cleaning it out, it was already detailed, but at some point I wanted to clean it myself. The first thing I noticed was that some of the clips that attach the door panels to the door itself were kind of popping out. And occasionally that would cause a little bit of, not necessarily rattling, but a little bit of noise anyway. So what I did is I just ordered new clips from Amazon, I think it was, and replaced them. And this worked really well on the driver's side. It was working okay on the passenger side, but what I found is that the people that ride with me tend to like to slam the door a little bit more, use a lot more force than I would. And it does sometimes, cause the clip to come undone and things to separate again. So I still need to do a little bit more work on that. One idea is maybe get some command strips, or I don't know, maybe I need to replace more of the clips and just do a little bit more work. But we'll get there, but it's not really a big deal. The next thing that I noticed as the weather was changing, because I got the car in, well, it was March 1, so, or early March, so it was quite cold at the time, and then as we transitioned into summer, I noticed that the HVAC was a little bit musty. So what I did is I opened everything up, just kind of like took apart all of the HVAC system, cleaned it out. There were a ton of twigs and leaves and dust and stuff, and so I just kind of cleaned all that out, shook it out, sprayed it with a antimicrobial and good smelling kind of spray, and that really helped a lot. It's been much better ever since. I've cleaned it out one more time, but that was really more for the video, so you can check out that video on how to do it yourself, than really because it needed to. Third, and this is probably the only major thing, is within the first little while that I had the car, I started to notice that at the speeds of between 75 and 80 miles an hour, which are the speeds that I like to take on the highway, that there would be a droning sound coming from the rear drivetrain. Because it is a rear-wheel drive car, then of course the drivetrain is all back there. And so I looked around online to see what other people said about this sort of droning, milling sound. And it looked like it's something that is not normal and that they should replace. And it's something that you didn't notice when you were going at slow speeds. It was only something that would really, it was kind of like the right frequency or speed or whatever. You'd hear it at around 75 to 80. So I took it down to the Tesla service center outside of Boston. I can't remember the name of the town, but under warranty, of course, right? They replaced the whole thing for free. So they replaced the drivetrain and I think also the high voltage assembly. And then it gave me a lot of peace of mind knowing that those were sort of replaced parts for all that system. So that was really nice to know. Fourth, and this is kind of weird, I don't know what happened along the way, but one of the trim pieces where the seatbelt kind of comes out on the driver's side in the rear kept popping out of place. And so, I was wondering what the heck's going on. So I took things apart. Most of the stuff just pops off. And I saw that it actually hadn't been screwed into place. So I don't know what's up with that. I had some extra screws that were the right size. Screwed that sucker back in and now it's fine. So as you can see, I haven't had to do any paid repairs by Tesla or on the Tesla so far. Knock on wood, that's true still as of the time of this filming. So really happy about that. And the work that I've done has been really simple stuff that anybody could do, I think. The only thing I did pay for was for the full self-driving upgrade, along with the upgrade from the old media control unit to what's called MCU2, which is the media control unit that came out with the Model 3 and the Model Y originally. And of course this gave a lot of functionality. I made a video about it. I do think the MCU1 to MCU2 upgrade is absolutely worth it. Still think that that's the case here after a year of ownership. FSD, well, still a gamble. I don't have FSD yet. I don't have the beta yet. I'm hoping for it. Still need to get my cameras upgraded. So we'll see about that. Well, of course, it's much more expensive to insure than my 11-year-old Acura that I had. I'm paying right around $1,200 a year, which isn't too bad. I've got Geico and I've got a bunch of discounts, including from earning Berkshire Hathaway stock, and then also having both my renters and my umbrella insurance through them as well. Absolutely not. So Tesla, as you know, has the best charging infrastructure. The supercharger network is amazing. It would have been a nightmare, I think, to try to move from New Hampshire all the way down here to Texas the way that I did. That 1,800-mile journey with the supercharger, with the navigation system, letting you know, what's the state of charge going to be when you get there, how long you're going to be sitting there. All of that was just absolutely amazing. So that's a huge thing. Also, the software that Tesla has is far better than what anyone else has. And of course, I really believe in the mission of Tesla as well, of transitioning us over to sustainable energy as fast as possible. As far as getting a different Tesla model, as I mentioned earlier, I was kind of looking at prices and comparing between the Model 3 and the Model S. Reason being, I don't care to be up high. I don't really like the SUV or CUV kind of thing. That's not me. I think sedans look much better. But the thing that really hit me towards the S is on those looks, it looks far better to me than a Model 3 does. Maybe you agree. And then also because it's a hatchback, and then frankly it's just a more premium experience than what you get in the Model 3. So I'm very happy with it. Of course, you'd expect I would have very strong confirmation buys after spending $38,000 on the vehicle, plus the upgrades. But no, I'm very happy with my choice to get a Model S rather than a Model 3. All right, so before I answer this question, let's just take a beat here and say this is crazy, right? Because with most automakers, same thing with my Acura. You buy the car and that is as good as it gets. You can do mods and stuff like that, but that's as good as it's going to get from the manufacturer. And that's not true with the Tesla. With the Tesla, I've been getting tons of new features along the way. Some of them, yeah, because I got the MCU2 upgrade, but still, all of these are software features that they're just adding on. So, when I first got the car, it could parallel park, but now it can park itself, reverse itself into parking spots that are perpendicular to the way you're driving. So that's pretty cool. It's got all kinds of new games and theater apps and all this kind of stuff. It also stops for stop signs and for red lights because I've got the FSD thing. It's just really incredible what they've been able to add just with software. Now, it's not all perfect. If you check out my review of their holiday update from 2021, so this was the version 11 of their UI, they made some serious missteps there. Again, it's not something that drives me nuts. I can live with it, but it's not as good as it was before, and hopefully they'll continue to improve on that software over the coming months. But by far, having said, talked about the different improvements that have occurred with my car, by far my favorite thing is the sound quality. So at some point they changed something about the way that the music is processed off of USB, and I think in general, and now the sound is just much richer, much fuller, much more immersive. I'm really, really happy with the way the music sounds in the car now. And again, just done over software, it's insane. Well, there are two major places where I think that Tesla could improve on, but we're just talking about the car itself. So with the car itself, I will say it's just the build quality. So my Acura never had any rattles, right? Well, there was one a little bit kind of by the passenger side front air vent. If you had it in the wrong position, it might rattle a little bit, but you just move it and it was fine. Other than that, basically everything, the fitment of everything was very, very tight, low tolerances, and everything really felt solid. Whereas in the Tesla, things feel a little bit, slapped together by a guy in California, right? It's really what it feels like. Yeah, that's how it feels like. Now, don't get me wrong, there's great materials and, the design is excellent, ergonomics are good, but some of the things just don't feel as sturdy or solid as I'm used to with the Japanese brands. Now, as far as other things the company can work with, definitely it's just communication. Communication stinks with Tesla, and then also service as well. So, they kind of do the bare minimum just fine, but there are none of the additional niceties of the experience that I used to get, like when I went to the Acura dealer. It was easy to get someone on the phone. They had all kinds of provisions. It was really just a good experience, and they'd clean the car when they were done, and I don't know, just a little more premium. Whereas the Tesla service experience is bare bones, which can be weird when these are really fairly expensive cars, right? But it makes sense now while they're trying to keep things really lean and try to grow the company really quickly. But hopefully in the future they'll change that, unless of course they go full robo-taxi, right? So we'll see what happens in the future. Well, here, if you work from home like me, so you're not traveling a lot of miles, I don't think it's a deal breaker at all not to have home charging. And then if you were commuting, so long as you had access to charging while you're at work, that would be great, right? So you get to work, you plug it in, you go to your job, and then when you get out, then you just have your commute back home. I think that would be perfectly fine. As long as you have a lengthy amount of time where your car has access to charging when you don't need it, then you're probably going to be okay. So if you work from home, then you could probably get away with just supercharging. I did that for a while when I first moved out here to Plano, and it was all right. It's a little inconvenient, maybe once a week or every 9 days or so, I'd have to go and supercharge. So not great, but not that big of a deal. There's entertainment, you can do whatever while you're doing it, or even you might even go out to eat while the car's charging or something like that. So it doesn't really have to be a huge inconvenience. But if you're traveling a lot of miles, then definitely I think you'd want to have the convenience of home charging. And not only that, but if it's quite a few miles, and then you want to have upgraded your charging capability at home. So I'm using 120 volts. That's fine because I don't drive very much. But you're going to want to use at least 240, like a NEMA 1450 dryer plug, or beyond that, in order to get a decent experience out of it. But On that point, I will say, I wake up in the morning and my car is fully charged. In other words, it has a full tank, and that's always the case. It's really, really cool not to have to go to the gas station or even think about that kind of thing. Well, here, sometimes it is tempting because I update my net worth on a monthly basis. And of course, one of the things that I do is I update the value of the vehicle. And it's pretty crazy that this car is now worth $10,000 more than what I paid for it, right? So basically a 25% increase in value. But of course, the car market, as I talked about in another video, is kind of nuts out there anyway, and I need to have a car. So no, I have no plans to sell this car, but it is crazy how much it has appreciated. My favorite things about this car, I think number one is the looks. I just think it's understated, very classic, beautiful lines. It's got these great haunches in the rear. It sort of looks kind of muscular from certain angles. Really just, I think it's a great, great looking car. The next thing that I love about it, which I talked about earlier, is listening to music in the car. I don't even have the upgraded sound system, the ultra hi-fi one, but still sounds great. I'm very happy with it. And then lastly, this one really can't be overstated, is how great autopilot is, especially for long road trips, highway cruising. It is just so ridiculously relaxing to have the car do all the speeding up and the slowing down for you, all of the lane changes, all of the navigating to which exit you need to take in order to get on which road, which lane you need to be in. It does all that stuff, and it is just it's kind of a ridiculous luxury to have a car that does that. I still feel kind of, I don't know, when I get in my car, I still feel very, very lucky that I'm able to have this car drive me around. Now, it's not completely perfect. Sometimes it does, I've had maybe one or two instances of phantom braking. There's some decisions that it makes that aren't great, like when it's trying to merge and there are other cars involved. It's not really good about going either in front of them or behind them and that kind of thing, or changing speed so that it's able to make that lane change. It still needs some work on there, but I think they're getting there, especially when we look at what's happening with the FSD beta. So fingers crossed that I'll get my camera upgrade and I'll be able to get FSD beta sometime in the future. So there you have it. I still love my car. Think it's great, not perfect, but really, really love it. Very, very happy with it. Hope you found this video helpful and enjoyable. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.